Hey everybody, I'm C. Andrew Nelson, founder of Aquatasy, and Aquatasy is live! That's right, you asked for it, you've got it, a live stream from Aquatasy. This is our very first live stream. No safety nets, no clever editing to get rid of all my mistakes, no digital post-production fancy footwork to hide all my horrible missteps. It's all just me and you, okay? So it's you in the driver's seat today. So you guys get to decide what's going to happen today. This is going to be an AMA style live stream. Ask me anything, whatever you feel like talking about. We can talk about fish. We can talk about aquatic plants. We can talk about invertebrates. We can talk about aquascaping. Why not? It's a fish tank channel. So we can talk about ponds. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about, how I put my videos together, that's great. We can talk about that. We can talk about where do I get my ideas for all the videos, or how I put them together as far as how I shoot them, how I edit them, how I do all the visual effects and animation and that sort of thing, the motion graphics. What do you want to talk about? We can talk about what I do beyond Aquatasy if you like. We can talk about acting. You can ask me about visual effects, animation, voiceover, stand-up comedy. Whatever your little heart desires. If you want to, you can even ask me about my long association with the Star Wars franchise, and in particular, Dark Lord of the Sith. It's up to you. What do you want to talk about? Just put what you want to talk about down there in the chat, and we will chat about it. And speaking of the chat, if for some reason I miss what you say in the chat, if you start typing something in and I don't see it, don't get upset. Don't get, don't feel bad or anything like that. I'm not ignoring you. If I miss it, just type it in again, and I will do my best to make sure that I see it. Now, of course, if you want to make sure that I see it, you can always do Super Chat. Super Chat is enabled, and I want to let you know that the portion of the proceeds from the Super Chats are going to go to the Starlight Children's Foundation. I've been raising money for them since 2005, so a portion of the proceeds goes to them. The rest of it goes right towards making content for you guys. So, how are you doing today? It's been a long day for me. There's a lot that goes into producing basically a one-man TV show here. I started off my career in theater, but I did television at a very early age, and it was kind of fly by the seat of your pants kind of television when I first started out on the local level before I started doing national stuff. But this is bringing me back to those days when we had a very small studio and just a small number of people doing everything. So so up until just a few moments ago, I was still setting up lights and all that sort of thing. So I hope this is all coming through, that it looks good, it sounds good, everything is good. How are you? Who's out there today? Dwain Kitchel's out there. How you doing, Dwain? Happy to see you. Shelly's there. Paul, good to see you. D. Michael's Fish Den in the house. Fantastic. Gary, Cichlid Strain Hunter. Fantastic. Good to see you all. So, what would you like to discuss? Oh, okay. We got somebody who's new. We got somebody named Nerd Girl who's here. And they are here for the first time saying hello. Now, I don't have all my fancy post-production graphics, but we'll see about what I can do just live for you here. Let's bring up the chat. Ooh. I know that was cheesy. That was so cheesy, so pathetic, but so we have a couple of questions here first. Shelly wants to ask. She asked me for those of you who don't know, the few of you who don't know. Besides being a fish tank hobbyist and everything, I'm an actor, visual effects artist, and animator, and I spent 12 years playing the character of Darth Vader for Lucasfilm. On film, for television, for commercials, print ads, magazine covers, toy packaging, you name it. And Shelley wanted to know, what was it like working with Ian McDiarmid? I actually did not work with Ian McDiarmid because I'm not the original Darth Vader. I'm more of a 2.0. I came along a little bit later. Dave Prowse was the original body of Darth Vader in the films there. So I've never met Ian McDiarmid. He's a brilliant actor. The only time I've come associated with Ian McDiarmid was on my my monitor at Industrial Light and Magic when I was working on effects for the Star Wars prequels. But I understand he's a very lovely person. So, all right, what else we got here? Excuse me, I've got my monitor over here, so I'm going to keep looking over this way. By the way, just to give you an idea, this also reminds me a lot of working in film and television, what I'm doing right now with this live stream, because in film and television, everything is about the world of illusion. Okay, we're creating an illusion, we're creating a reality. What you see behind me is not a reality. My desk was a hot mess before I started this live stream, and I just shoved everything over there. So yeah, so it would look clean for you. But anyway, but I got my monitor over here. Let me see what we got going here. So got more people saying hi. Everybody saying hi to each other. That's good. That's good. That's fine. Everybody saying hi. So what do you want to talk about? Okay, Nerd Girl says, I just rebuilt a tank. Maybe I need to know how to keep a cycle going for a rebuild. Okay, that's a big question. That's actually a good topic when you're talking about cycling of tanks. And that's one of the few things that unfortunately you don't get taught easily when you go to like the pet stores, and even sometimes the local fish stores don't even talk to you about it. Cycling isn't that difficult. I mean, there's two ways of doing it, but the idea is that when you set up a tank, the environment is absolutely perfect. It's pristine. You've put in your substrate, you've put in your hardscape, you've put in, if you've got live plants, you've got that in there. You've made it all look beautiful, and then you've put your water in there, because that's important. You put the water in, and you treat the water so that you've removed all the chlorine and the chloramines and all that sort of thing. So you get it all perfect, and it's pristine. It is absolutely perfect and ready for fish, except for one thing. Once you put fish inside your tank, then it's no longer perfect, because there's this little thing called poop, and fish do it, and sometimes they do it a lot. And that starts to foul the water. Plus, also, when you put food in the tank, that's going to break down anything that the fish don't eat. So that creates a certain amount of ammonia. Well, the ammonia levels are going to rise. And if nothing takes care of that, then you've got a problem. And so you've got to eliminate that ammonia. So what usually takes care of that is nitrifying bacteria. So you've got to introduce bacteria to your tank. Now, there are a lot of ways of cycling your tank. You can cycle it just kind of naturally. You can just let it sit around for a while, and you can add some kind of an ammonia source to the tank. Some people do a fish-in version of cycling, where you actually put a couple of very hardy fish in there, like platies or mollies or something like that, or zebra danios. I like to do the fishless cycling, where I just put in a little bit of food, maybe a little flake food, and let it just break down so that there's something in there to create some ammonia. And then you can either let the tank sit, and beneficial bacteria is everywhere. It's in the atmosphere, it's all over the place, and it will eventually settle in the tank. You can sort of speed that process up by adding some kind of jump start to it. There's a lot of different products available that you can just basically pour bacteria into your tank, good bacteria in there, and it starts the cycling going. That then converts the ammonia into nitrite. That has to break down further into nitrate, which is less harmful to the fish, and then that can be removed just through water changes and that sort of thing. So it does take a while. So when you're going through it, Nerd Girl, when you're going through the process, have patience. Also, have a really good test kit. You want to have a nice water test kit. Don't get the little strips. They're actually kind of useless. I mean, they're good for like a little quick, overall evaluation, but for really testing your water, you really want to have a nice test kit. The API test kits are good. There's some other ones that are more expensive, and they're good too. But the API test kit is pretty good. But test your water. Test it every day. Watch the ammonia levels rise. Watch them drop, and as they drop, then the nitrite levels should go up. Watch those drop, and then the nitrate level should go up. And once that happens, you should be cycled. But take your time there. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff going through the chat here, and I apologize for missing some of it here. Let's see what we got going here. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. So Paul says, could you say you're beta testing your live chat right now? Yes, I could say that. I'm not going to because you've already said it. Paul, you are the king of the bad jokes. Love you, my friend. Okay. Aquatic Ransom Reviews says, in these days of beneficial bacteria in a bottle cycling is much easier and quicker, but you're still going to have to take it slow. Yes, that is absolutely true. I actually do use the bottled bacteria when I'm setting up a new tank, or I will take filter media from another tank that's already established, and I'll put that into the new tank. And it's almost like an instant cycling, assuming everything else is set up right. And that works really well. But I do use the bottle stuff. It is so much easier to cycle a tank now than it used to be. Oh my gosh, I've been in this hobby since the Stone Age, and it used to be a lot harder, but now it's much easier there. All right. What do I have here? Nerd Girl says, yeah, I was doing ammonia for fish free to rebuild, but just ordered TSS because I have my CPO craze in a tote. Yeah, well, yeah, you don't want to keep them in the tote for too long. Ruben's here. How you doing, Ruben? Ruben is a wonderful, wonderful subscriber to the Aquatasy channel, and I have several of his plants growing in the tank behind me here. Thank you so much for that. Good to see you here. D. Michael's Fish Dens says to Aquatic Rants regarding what they said, completely agree. And for whatever reason, it seems like Fluval Biological Enhancer and Continuum's Bactergen seems to do it at ludicrous speeds, long as there is some ammonia to feed on. Okay, I've not used those two products, but I'm actually going to try them because I've heard a lot of the same good things that you're talking about, Mike. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to try those. Dwain Kitchel says, hit that like button, folks. Button, folks. See, I can't edit out any of these mistakes here. If you've watched a recent blooper reel that I did, I have a lot of bloopers. I make a lot of mistakes when I'm shooting stuff for you. When I'm shooting the videos for the Aquatasy channel, I'm usually shooting them late at night after my family's gone to bed and I've taken care of everything else, dishes are washed and that sort of thing. When I'm no longer working on my freelance projects or anything like that, I go to the spacious Aquatasy studios, aka the former garage, and I work on these videos for you. But I work very, very late. I get to where I'm like, it's 2, 3 in the morning and I'm working on these things, so I get a little punchy. And not unlike how I am right now. And I start making some fabulous bloopers for you. So if you haven't seen the recent blooper reel, check it out and tell me what you think. So who else has a question? What would you like to talk about today? All right. Shelley says, I would love to recommend the blooper reels Andrew has done. I just watched the 100th video blooper reel, and it was awesome. Thank you very much, Shelley. Yeah, I had fun actually making that. You know, it was a lot of work because I had to sift through, I mean, almost 100 videos that I'd shot. I mean, just tons and tons of source material, and I just basically started collecting I would go through, skim through them, find a mistake that I made, drop it into a composition in my computer software. I use Adobe After Effects for editing my videos. I don't recommend using Adobe After Effects if you're out there looking for software to edit your videos with. I really don't recommend it. It's great software. It's absolutely fantastic software. I can't live without it, but it's not an intuitive editing package. It's really not. It's for visual effects and animation and motion graphics and that sort of thing. And I've been using it for years, though. I've been using it since 1994, since before Adobe even owned it. It was owned by another company back then. So I'm very, very, very familiar with the software. So I was taking all of these different bloopers that I had made, that I'd found, and just putting them all into a composition, and just had basically a whole bin full of clips. And I just mixed and matched and tried to find a logical order for them to go in. So that's what I did. We got some more people joining us. 54 Punchy, glad to see you. We've got Cichlids23. Glad to see you as well. Happy to see you. Okay, Cichlid Strain Hunter has a question that says, is anyone aware of potentially harmful pet foods or chemicals or preservatives to stay away from other than ethoxyquin? I hate Latin. That's a good question. So please, help them out. Who's got an answer for that? I love this. I love the fact that you guys are all chatting with each other. Maybe I'll just take a break. I'll just take a little break here. Okay. I actually have a new inhabitant in this tank over here, like you can see them from that distance. But in here with my my zebra danios. Actually, let's go back over here for a moment. Whoa! Now maybe you can see it a little bit better. But in here with my zebra danios, right down in that corner over here, I've got a little little sunset dwarf honey gourami that I picked up recently. Yes, there'll be a video coming. All right, back to the chat. Yeah. All right. Okay, Dwayne says, Andrew, pick a couple of people out and make them mods. The 3 little dots at the end of their names. That sounds like you're volunteering, Dwayne. Congrats, Dwayne. Dwayne, you're now a mod. So, woohoo! All right. I don't know what it's like where you are right now, but it is really, really hot here in the San Francisco Bay Area, all up through northern and central California right now. It's fairly warm. Last weekend, I think it was last weekend, yes, I was up in Folsom, California, up northeast of Sacramento, and it was 97 degrees when I arrived. I was doing a convention appearance there. And when I left, it was 107. It's not quite that bad here in the San Francisco Bay Area today, but it's in the good high 70s and low 80s in this area at the moment. So that's right. Dwayne's got a wrench, and he knows how to use it. So yes. Yes, Punchy, you have to behave yourself now. Okay. Because not only do you have Dwayne with the wrench, but, you know, I might force choke you if you don't watch out there. So. JH Aquatics says, watch out, Dwayne is waving around a wrench. I've got images of Dwayne now, you know, outside of his house going, you kids, get out of my yard! Shelley says, yes. She says, it was awesome seeing you there in Folsom, Andrew. I can honestly say I really enjoyed hanging out with you. Yes, that was a lot of fun. That was a wonderful little convention called OhanaCon. I do several of those around California, and it's just a lot of fun. In fact, I'll be doing a convention this weekend. If any of you are in the Stockton, California area, I will be at StocktonCon in Stockton, California, at the big Stockton Arena. I'll be there with Femi Taylor, who was Ula, the slave girl in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, and a whole bunch of other guests there. Some the actors from The Office are going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you ever want to know where I'm going to be appearing, or at conventions, or where I'm going to be lecturing, or anything like that, you can go to candrewnelson.com and go to the events page, and everything is listed there. So. Cyclist23 says, wait, Folsom? What? Yes, I was in Folsom. Why, do you live near Folsom? Or are you just expecting me to be locked up in the prison there? JH Aquatics says, might we ever see you at Aquashella or the Aquatic Experience? I sure hope so. I'd wanted to go there this year. It didn't quite work out, but I'm definitely planning to do that. I would really like to go there and just see those events. I watch everybody else's videos about those, and they're wonderful. They're fantastic, and I'm just dying to go. But it did not work out very well that year. Cyclist23 says, yes, sir, I'm in Marysville, about an hour away. I was actually in Marysville doing a show. Marysville and Yuba, actually, I think it was in Yuba City, just right across the border there, doing a show there. So if you ever want to, see where I'm at, Cyclid23, go to candronelson.com, go to the events page, and I'm listed there, all the events that I'm going to be at. So check it out. I would actually love to meet you. Paul says, saw you in Livermore a couple weeks ago. Always a great experience. If you haven't met Andrew, he's the best. Aw, you're going to make me blush, Paul. No, Paul and I have known each other for a very long time now. Nerd Girl is in Weed, California, she says. JH Aquatic says to Nerd Girl, I love your channel name. I love your channel name too. I think that's awesome. We need more nerds. That's a wonderful thing. I've been a nerd my entire life, and of course when I started off as a nerd, it was not cool to be a nerd. Now it's much cooler to be a nerd. So I've got a lot more nerd street credit now than I used to. So Cichlid Strain Hunter says, are you ever in DC? Yes, I am. It's been a long time since I've been to DC. I've been out there a couple of times. Actually, the last couple of times that I was in DC, I was there because Lucasfilm sent me there. Again, if you're just tuning in and you've never seen this channel or anything like that, fish tanks and YouTube is not my day job. My day job is being an actor, being a visual effects artist and animator. I started acting when I was 10 years old, started off in theater, then moved into film and television and games and animation and voiceover. But I'm also a visual effects artist and animator, and I worked for 6 years at LucasArts, the game company, designing and creating games there. And then I transferred over to Industrial Light and Magic, and I worked on the effects for the Star Wars prequels and a bunch of other movies like Galaxy Quest and Jurassic Park 3 and Perfect Storm and a whole bunch more that I'm not going to go into right now. And then left there and took a full-time faculty position at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, running the visual effects department. Was a visual effects head of the visual effects department there, overseeing the entire curriculum for visual effects and teaching a full slate of classes. Did that for about 2.5 years, and then I've been a freelance visual effects supervisor and animation consultant since then, besides continuing to act. But the last time I was in DC was when Lucasfilm sent me out there to play Darth Vader. I spent 12 years playing Darth Vader for Lucasfilm, in the special edition of the original movies, in the video games like Rebel Assault 2 and Dark Forces. That's why you'll see in my videos a whole bunch of Vader stuff around here. People give that to me, and so I have a lot. Wait a minute. So I was in DC doing a live appearance promoting the special edition. So it's been a long time since I was in DC, but I'd love to go back. I really I would. So let me catch up on this here. Everybody's talking back and forth amongst each other here. All right, JB227 says, Have you ever seen those large planted bowls, like the Jungle Bubble videos? I've always wanted to do one, but the hardest part is finding a bowl that large. Funny you should mention that. You mean something like this? I inherited this. This was actually in my my in-laws' basement. My father-in-law had this, and I'm going to turn it into a little shrimp face. Yep, the cat's out of the bag now. So yeah, that's coming up. So I'm going to do something like that. Give it the great shrimp vase experiment and see what happens with that. And that's just going to sit here on my desk. So anybody else have done any other thing like that? I love the idea. I actually do, JB. I really enjoy that idea. Cichlid Strain Hunter says, bruh. Love it. I got a Darth Vader doll right behind one of my tanks. You can see it in my videos. Oh, I'm going to check that out. I am definitely going to check that out. So Vader's like watching them. It's the shadow of the Force. The shadow of the Empire is right behind your tank there. I love it. That's great. Yeah, the Cichlid 23 is saying, "Ooh, I need one of them for my shrimp." Yeah, these things are great. I was so fortunate to find that, and I'm just, it's been sitting here. I've been wanting to work on this, get this thing started up, but I've got some other projects I got to do first. That's the problem. You know, you have all these wonderful ideas. I've got tanks sitting underneath this desk that I think some that my wife doesn't even know about, that I have not been able to set up yet, because, you know, life gets in the way. And I you know, I've been very, very busy the last year here. So, but hopefully we'll get some of these projects going again. Plus, I have not forgotten about the Thailand project back over here behind me. It's a little bit of a hot mess right now. I had put some dwarf water lettuce in there, and it was beautiful, but it took off, and it has now choked out the light from all the other plants, and because I've been busy, some of the other plants have sort of died back. But here's the good thing: if you didn't catch it in the community tab on the Aquatasy channel, if you saw the video where I had ordered the basically free cryptocorin from eBay that came all the way from Malaysia and arrived just absolutely cooked. One of them had a little bit of root on it, and I planted it in this tank. I just basically threw it in there and forgot about it. It is actually sprouted. It came back. I was so surprised. I did not expect that to happen at all, but it is alive. So what else we got here? Catfish Cave is here briefly saying, "Drat, I'm at work and we're closing. Good evening, everyone. Guess I'll catch the non-live version. Ciao." Sorry about that, Catfish Cave, but, you know, who knows? Maybe if you rush home, you can catch the end of this. I'm gonna keep going with this live stream until you guys all give up on me, or until my wife says, "Okay, that's enough." So, Jerry Cornell, my good buddy Jerry Cornell from Theme Parkology, is in the house. Jerry says, "Do you have a favorite type of fish that you actually don't have?" That's a great question. Yes, I do. I have always, this is my bucket list fish. I would love to have a royal pleco, a royal plecostomus. They're big, beautiful, ugly fish. Striped sucker mouth catfish with strange red eyes, and they're gorgeous. They're if you can think about this, Jerry, because I know you love your Godzilla films and everything. Think about the smog monster. It looks like that. The flying version of the smog monster, it looks like that. That's what I want. I want one of those for in my tank, but I don't have a tank big enough because those things get huge. But I have always wanted one of those. When I was a kid, growing up here in the San Francisco Bay Area, there was a pet store at my local mall that was actually a really good pet store, and they had really good fish. And that's where my grandfather and I would go and get our fish from. And their front window was actually a big, huge tank. It was just a big, huge aquarium, and they had a royal pleco in there. And I loved that thing. I thought it was amazing. I was just fascinated by it, and I wanted one. But they weren't selling him, and we didn't have a tank big enough anyway. So I got, instead, what turned out to be a clown pleco. I didn't know it was a clown pleco. You have to realize that back in the day, back in the mid-70s, yes, I'm that old. Back in the mid-70s, when I was first in the hobby, there were not a lot of resources. You know, you had to rely on what the people at the pet store or the fish stores would tell you. Or maybe you ran into a couple other hobbyists, but the books, it was hard to find books, and there was no internet, of course, back then. So I got this fish, and the pet store, they didn't know what kind of pleco it was. I didn't know what kind of pleco it was. I expected it to get larger. It never got any bigger than about that big. But I had that fish for 26 years. 26 years that fish lived. And it wasn't until I had had it for 24 years that I knew what kind of pleco it was. So, but my bucket list fish, Jerry, is a royal pleco. Look it up on the internet. Let's see what I'm talking about. Cindy425 says, I made it. Hey. Hi, everybody. Hi, Cindy. Yay. Cindy's here. Yay. Siglas23 says, do you come down to the SAC Club meetings? Oh, I guess he's saying that to Nerd Girl. Okay, well, I guess he doesn't want me there. Fine. All right. There, you guys are talking about something. Fine. Go ahead. You guys talk. That's fine. I don't know what kind of meetings you're talking about. Nerd Girl, you say, how big do they get? No one can have one. What are we referring to here? I've kind of lost track of things. I'm going to have to scroll back. See, I told you this is what happens. If you're talking about the Royal Plecos, they get to be about 1.5 feet, I think. Jerry says, maybe I'll wrap one up for you for Christmas. I don't think that would go too well. Siglas23 says, the mega auction in June actually was friggin' epic. Over 600 items, badass fish, tanks, wood, rocks, you name it. I went to one in San Jose with Dan Slee, and there was no comparison. Wow. I missed all these events. I've been so busy. Okay, so they're talking, she was asking how big do they get. She was talking about the big meetings, the fish clubs, and that sort of thing. So I'd like to check those clubs out too someday. So, pardon me whilst I refresh. Paul says, give us an update on the dead plants you got in the mail. Yes, I just mentioned that a moment ago. The dead plant, I got some, I had a coupon that eBay gave me for being a good customer. They gave me a coupon for $5 off. So I looked to see if I could find a $5 item just because I'm cheap. No, I'm frugal. So it was just an exercise in fun. So I found a company from Malaysia that I was able to get without paying anything, Cryptocorin balancea, and which is a nice plant. It's a plant from that grows in Thailand as well, and I thought it'd be perfect for the Thailand project over here. And so when it arrived, there were 3 of them that arrived. Little stubs about that big, and they were just absolutely squished and cooked. Just a mess. But one of them had some roots on it, and I thought, all right, okay, fine, I'll stick it in the tank there. And they came in just like a thin envelope. It had to go through customs. It took like 3 weeks or so to get here. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they were dead, or at least 2 of them were. But I took the 3rd one, put it in the tank, stuffed it into the aqua soil, and forgot about it. And sure enough, it started to sprout. Now, because the water lettuce has been blocking out the light, it hasn't really grown that much. So it's really only about 1 inch tall. It's got like maybe 2. The 3rd leaf is coming up now, but it is alive. So there's your update, Paul. Oh, Siglas23 says the mega auction is in Folsom. It's awesome. Well, I have to check that out. I tell you what, Siglas23, send me an email with the information about it. You can send it to info@aquatasy.com. In fact, here's all the information that you might need to contact me right there. You've got Aquatasy on Instagram, Aquatasy on Facebook, Aquatasy on Twitter, Aquatasy on Patreon. You got the Aquatasy.com website, which is going to be overhauled very, very soon because it's old and outdated. And you can reach me at info@aquatasy.com. So send me that information and I will check that out. Yeah. There we go again. So Aquatasy, watch True Labiatus. Okay, I guess that's your video that's got the Vader in the background. I will check that out. I definitely, once the live stream's over, I will check it out. We got somebody new entered in here. Dr. Black 66 says, "G'day, you mob." G'day to you. Good to see you. Shelley says, excuse me, pardon me. Get that right. You have an awesome sense of humor, Andrew. You never fail to make me laugh. Well, thank you. You haven't been around long enough. If you're around me enough, trust me, I will eventually drive you nuts. Water Wizard is here. Says, "Hey Andrew, love the talking fish. Those videos are amazing." Thank you. You say that because you don't have to live with them. I mean, they're actually kind of, they're not exactly the most pleasant to live with all the time, but yes, they are fun. Actually, maybe they want to talk. I don't know if they even want to join in or not. But you guys, they're down in the 10-gallon holding tank still, because they're actually still a little angry with me because I still haven't finished the rescape of their tank. But you guys want to join in on this?
No, we're not getting involved in this. We'll be over here watching you crash and burn. Let us know when you're done.
Yeah, this is gonna be a train wreck.
Yeah, you said it.
Okay, fine. Be that way. All right, but anyway, thank you. I'll let them know that you enjoy that, that you enjoy their videos and everything. I just have this horrible feeling at some point they're going to figure out how to use the equipment here, and they're going to start making videos without me, and I'm very, very concerned about that. So let's go back to the chat. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. Paul says, "Me too, love the talking fish." You hear that? They're not talking to me now. Everybody saying hi to everybody. That's good. Dwain Kitchel reminding everybody very nicely that we do have a Aquatasy store. You can get all kinds of cool Aquatasy merch. You can get a shirt. Whoops, sorry, a shirt not unlike this one. You can get the "I suffer from MTS, multiple fish tank syndrome" T-shirt. You can get fish tanks. You got a problem with that? T-shirts and mugs and all that sort of thing. Go check it out. Again, portion of the proceeds goes to help the Starlight Children's Foundation. They are a wonderful group that I've been supporting since 2005. Years ago, I was asked to make convention appearances at different comic book and collectibles conventions and things like that, sci-fi conventions, and I used to turn it down because I thought, well, who wants to see me at conventions? And somebody told me, well, you got years and years of stories that nobody's heard. You worked on the Star Wars films. You worked on the Jurassic Park series. You worked on some Marvel stuff. You should do conventions. And I said, all right, I'll do it if I can do it for charity. And I was in New York. We were doing the David Letterman show. The Lucasfilm had sent me out to do the David Letterman show. And David Letterman used to do the top 10 list. And he was doing, this was right around the time of Revenge of the Sith coming out. And David Letterman was doing his top 10 list, which was top 10 lines you'll never hear in a Star Wars movie. And he had 10 Star Wars characters out there on the stage to deliver these 10 lines. Vader was the number one answer, which was, "I once used the Force to open a jar of Vlasic pickles." So that was the line there. So we had 10 Star Wars characters out there. So I was out there with a bunch of people from Lucasfilm, and we had done a rehearsal at the Ed Sullivan Theater where Letterman was doing his show, and we're walking back. It was me and Matthew Wood, who's the voice of General Grievous and is sound editor and film editor. We were walking back to the hotel that we were staying at, and we had to pass by a movie theater, and there were people standing in line already for Revenge of the Sith 3 weeks before the film came out, and some of them in costume. And we were like, we went over and asked them, "What are you guys doing here?" We didn't tell them who we were, but we went over and asked them, "What are you guys doing here?" And they were doing a stand-in-line-a-thon for Starlight Children's Foundation. And as they started to tell me about the organization, I thought to myself, that's my charity. They help families who have kids that are, critically ill or injured or, terminally ill. They make sure these kids actually have a life beyond whatever treatments or therapy or surgeries or anything like that, or recovery that they're going through. They bring activities to them. They take them out. They do so much for them, and they also do a lot to support the rest of the family, especially other siblings who sometimes going to get lost in the shuffle. So when I've heard about them, as a parent myself, I have thought to myself, my gosh, I hope I never have to use their services, but I thank God they're there. So I started doing convention appearances, and I've been raising money for Starlight Children's Foundation ever since then. So when you buy, T-shirts from the, the Aquatasy store, or when you do Super Chat here or anything like that, you're helping support Starlight Children's Foundation. You can find out all about them at starlight.org. So thank you, Dwain, for putting that up there. So, Ruben says my audio is a little low. Well, maybe I'll just move the microphone up. I try to keep the microphone out of shot, but is that better, Dwain? I mean, is that better, Ruben? Can you hear me better now? Or should I talk like this? All right, what else do we have here? Thank you, Dwain, for putting Starlight's website up there. Who's David Letterman? Oh my gosh. Well, before Stephen Colbert, the guy that hosted the Late Late Show, was David Letterman. And before, what's his face on, so say I don't watch him, on Late Night, and before Jimmy Fallon on Late Night, there was David Letterman was the host of Late Night. So I was actually appeared on the Late Late Show back when David Letterman was hosting it. So, Shelley says, my favorite line from Star Wars is the lines Andrew signed on my Darth Vader pick and said, impressive, most impressive. It's a great line. It is a great scene. Paul Martin is here. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Paul Martin says, I missed you in my hometown, GraffitiCon in Modesto. That's okay, Paul, because guess what? I am coming back to Modesto this month. I'm going to be at Lexicon in Modesto. Go to candrewnelson.com, go to the events page, and you will see all the information there. It's going to be at the Clarion in Modesto. I will be there. Please come out and say hi. That's also a charity fundraiser, too, for Children's Foundation. So please come out and help support that as well. Nerd Girl says, my kids have autism, so services are always a need. Yes, they are. And, that's hard. It's rough. When you've got kids with autism, it's a rough one. So, my heart goes out to you. And a lot of times, people around you, they don't even understand. They don't get that there's something different. I never say there's something wrong. There's something different. Kids with autism process the world differently. Doesn't mean that they're broken. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. So, so bless you. Jerry says, what's the most impressive costume you've seen at a con? Wow. I've seen some amazing things. My gosh. All right, I'm going to actually mention a friend of mine. And that's Matthew O'Connor. You can find him on social media, Alien Matt. He dresses as the Xenomorph from the Alien films. And what's so impressive about his costume, besides all the other things that Matt does, he's a visual effects modeler. And he builds models and everything, practical models, physical models. And he designed his costume out of found materials. It's cardboard and foam rubber and things like that, and it's amazing. You can get right up on top of his Xenomorph character, and it looks so impressive. It's wild. I thank Dwain, and Dwain is saying that's what mods do, Andrew. Yes, and I thank you for doing that. Paul Newitt says, shout out to Corridoras, Plecos Stomos, Oscar, Molly, and Jerry Barb. Dwain Kitchel asks about Jay Leno. Nope, wasn't on Jay Leno's show. Actually, no, Jay Leno hosted the Tonight Show before Jimmy Fallon got it. Before Conan O'Brien got it, and then Jay Leno got it back, and then it went to Jimmy Fallon. Dr. Black 66 says, some old dude with a beard who hangs out with famous people. Are you referring to me? I'm some old dude? Oh my gosh. I guess I need to dye my hair again. Okay. Somebody's saying that the audio needs to go up more. All right. It's right up by my face now. I don't know what else I could do to get it to go higher. I'll just have to talk a little louder. Is this a little better? Are we doing better now? Can we hear me better now? Yes, Dwayne, my friend Matt has a full alien xenomorph suit. It's pretty impressive. Ruben says, I still watch replays of Johnny Carson. Yes, I do too. I was watching a clip the other night of Frank Sinatra and Don Rickles on the Carson show, and it was just priceless. Absolutely priceless. Cyclist23 says, they were just watching Ancient Aliens. I'm imagining, when I see the title of a show like that, I'm imagining aliens in wheelchairs and walkers and trying to put their teeth back in and everything like that. Nerd Girl says, what happens in the next Star Wars movie? Your guess is as good as mine. I am not involved in that film. I have friends that are working on it, but I've sworn them to secrecy because I kind of want to be surprised. I did that with The Force Awakens. I had a bunch of friends working on it in the visual effects end of things at Industrial Light and Magic, and I told them, don't tell me anything about it. Peter Mayhew, the late Peter Mayhew, who was a very dear friend of mine. I knew Peter for like 22 years or more. He had been working on The Force Awakens, and I told him, don't tell me anything about it. And so, because I wanted to see if I could go and see a Star Wars film again, like a fan, like I had back in 1977 when the first film came out, just to see if I could get that same feeling again. I kind of cheated because I didn't see Force Awakens in the theater. I saw it at Industrial Light and Magic at a screening there. But it was nice. I actually didn't even see the trailer. I didn't even watch the trailer. So I enjoyed The Force Awakens. I loved Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was a fantastic film. I was disappointed by The Last Jedi, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. So I actually haven't really been paying attention to Rise of Skywalker. So, you know, I'll see it. I'll see it when it comes out. There's probably going to be a screening at Industrial Light and Magic, and I'll get to go to that. But I'll check it out. But as far as what's happening, there's a lot happening. You've certainly got stuff happening in that film. There's the Disney Plus streaming service that's got the Mandalorian show that's coming up on there. That's following the Mandalorians, like, you know, the same group as Boba Fett. And again, I don't know anything about the shows other than I know that Jon Favreau is in charge of the Mandalorian show. But I'm sort of out of the loop at the moment there. Working on other projects. So, what else do we have here? Cyclist23 says, I'm so old, I remember watching Tiger Woods on That's Incredible. Oh gosh, yes, I remember that. There was a show called That's Incredible, and they brought all these... See, before the internet, there was nowhere for just random clips, you know, what we call web junk now, to go. And there was a show called That's Incredible, and they would show these little profiles of people and things like that. There was That's Incredible, and there was one other one too, People Are Amazing or something like that. I forgot the name of the show. And they would have, and I remember, they would bring people like Tiger Woods when he was just a little kid on there and watching him, you know, do these little trick shots. It was amazing. Nerd Girl says, ugh, having to teach history to millennials about late night talk shows. Tell them to Google it. Yes. Google Johnny Carson. You know, find out, or if you want to go back even further than that, Jack Parr and Steve Allen. They're a little bit before my time, but check them out and see who hosted the Tonight Show long before, you know, Jimmy Fallon. Although I do like Jimmy. I actually worked with Jimmy once. So I've crossed paths with quite a few people from Saturday Night Live, which is kind of interesting. Uh, um, it's quite a few. Rob Schneider went to my rival high school. We're the same age. We grew up in the same town in Pacifica, California. And we went to rival high schools at either end of town. We both started doing stand-up comedy at the same time, played some of the same clubs like Holy City Zoo in San Francisco. And we did actually perform together once on the same in the same venue. But so I've worked with Rob. I've worked with Will Ferrell. I've worked with Jimmy Fallon and Adam Sandler. I was in Adam Sandler's Funny People. I had a small role that got cut even smaller in the edit. So it's interesting how many times my paths have crossed with SNL alumni. You know, I'm not bragging. I'm always afraid when I talk about these things that people are going to think I'm bragging. I'm an ordinary guy who gets to do extraordinary things, and I don't take it for granted. I'm very fortunate and very blessed to be able to do what I do for a living. I'm blessed and fortunate to even have this channel, which, by the way, I don't consider my channel. I consider it your channel. Aquatasy is your channel. I'm just the caretaker. I'm just the guy that, you know, makes the videos for you. But you guys are Aquatasy, and I'm just so very fortunate that it has blown up to, you know, over 9,000 subscribers now. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So, Nerd Girl asks, how do you feel about the criticism of the newest movies with Rey? Hey, you know, they're movies. Every movie is everybody is entitled to an opinion on any new movie, including those that I've worked on. I've been able to work on some. I've been very fortunate. Most of the movies that I've worked on have actually been some decent movies. I've worked on some really good films. I can't think of too many turkeys that I've worked on, except for my very first film, which was a duck, Howard the Duck. My very first acting role in a film was on Howard the Duck, and I was a rocker in that. Mercifully cut out of most of it. It's not. Howard the Duck is not a good film, but it's a fun film. I mean, it's Mystery Science Theater type level bad film. But I've been fortunate, you know, in most of my career to have worked on decent movies. But you know, everybody is entitled to their opinion, and if people want to criticize and critique the new films, the new Star Wars films, fine. You know, even George has added a little bit of criticism here and there to how they turned out. But you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Rise of Skywalker, because honestly, I did not like the Last Jedi. I thought that it broke a lot of rules as far as Star Wars was concerned, and I also think it seemed to undo so much that was put in place by Force Awakens. So my hat's off to J.J. Abrams, because he's got a lot to try to fix, basically, in there. So, Real People, thank you, Aquasnark. That's the other show I was trying to remember besides, you know, That's So Incredible, is Real People. That was the other show that, and if I remember correctly, yeah, they were both on the same network, if I remember correctly. All right. Jerry asks, what's your favorite project that you've worked on? I have two favorite projects that I've worked on. Like I said, I've been very fortunate and very blessed to work on some really interesting projects. As much as I love Star Wars, and I've worked on a lot of Star Wars. I've worked, you know, for 6 years at LucasArts, working on a lot of Star Wars games, a lot of non-Star Wars games. I've worked at Industrial Light and Magic on the Star Wars prequels, and that was a lot of fun. But my favorite project that I've ever worked on, it's right up there behind me, Galaxy Quest. I was a visual effects artist on the film Galaxy Quest, and I had a blast working on that. You know, the interesting thing is when you work in visual effects, you can work for 6 months to a year or more on a movie, and you never know if the film's any good until it comes out in theaters. Because when you're working on it, you see it out of sequence, you see it without sound, you see your portion of it, and that's about it. And when we were working on Galaxy Quest, the studio sent us a rough cut of the movie. And I kid you not, that never, ever happens. I've never had that happen before or since in my career. other than, unless you're like the visual effects supervisor on a project or the visual effects producer, you really don't know how the film is shaping up. And even then, sometimes you don't. So they sent us a rough cut of Galaxy Quest. So we all crammed into one of the screening rooms at Industrial Light and Magic, and we sat down to watch it. And we were like, oh my gosh, this movie is fantastic. And we just had a blast working on it. We just really got excited to get it finished. So I had some fun shots on that. So that's probably one of my very favorite projects. I have two others that I really liked. One of them is I was an animator and a voice actor on the PBS Kids TV series Between the Lions, which ran for several years on PBS. And that was really fulfilling because you're doing something that actually means something beyond the entertainment level. It was a show that taught kids how to read using phonics, which is great. But it had a lot of just really off-the-wall humor. So it was created by a couple of the writers that had been on Sesame Street who got fed up with Sesame Street not really teaching you anything anymore. It was, basically it was all, Sesame Street had become about how to feel good about yourself. Well, I remember, and they remembered back in the day that, Sesame Street, you used to feel good about yourself because you learned how to read and write and do arithmetic. So these two, they wanted to set up a new show, and they created a show called Between the Lions, which involved puppets and animation and live performers and just a mix of all kinds of things and lots of irreverent and funny humor. So there was a level of humor that was aimed at kids, but then there was another level of humor aimed at the parents above that, and you could enjoy both. And I really enjoyed working as an animator on that and as a voice actor. But there's one other project that I worked on. I'm going to give a plug to my friend Jerry, who asked this question, and I didn't expect that. But Pirates of the Caribbean. This is a documentary from Theme Parkology. That's Jerry's company. He produces these wonderful documentaries on different theme park attractions, and I was the editor for this, and I was an animator, animating the titles. I even did an interview in here about this. But I had a blast because Jerry basically said, all right, here you go, have at it. Here's the interviews, here's the footage, here's the photos, here's the narration. Make it work. And he gave me so much free rein, and I had so much fun, and we're working on another project now together. So, Dr. Ted says, hi, Darth Boss. Are you referring to me? Let's see. Lumpy Dog's here. Hey, Lumpy Dog, good to see you. Lumpy Dog talking about old shows here. He's talking about, what about In Search Of? That show was always for Bigfoot, Nessie, etc. Yes, In Search Of was a show from the 1970s. It was hosted by Leonard Nimoy, where they go in search of some weird mystery or something like that. That was a fun show, too. Aquasnark says, Galaxy Quest was such a fun spoof. Yes, it was. And it was very, very loving spoof. It's basically, if you haven't seen the movie, you should see it. First of all, it's a really good film from 1999, starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, and a whole bunch of others. And it was a show about the cast of a TV series, not unlike Star Trek, who, after the show was canceled, they're now doing convention appearances, and that's pretty much their only gig, until they're recruited to go fight a space battle by a group of aliens called the Thermians, who have seen their broadcasts that have drifted through space, and they have mistaken them for historical archives, and they believe it all to be real, and they're now enlisting the help of the crew of the ship that they saw in that TV show. And now these actors have got to do it for real. And it's a wonderful show, but it's a very loving parody, but also tribute to Star Trek. So, super chat from Jerry Cornell of $10. Jerry, that was awfully nice of you. That is going to help the Starlight Children's Foundation. Thank you very much, Jerry. I appreciate that. JB227 says, I remember watching Between the Lions when I was little. Good, I hope you liked it. I hope it wasn't something you were forced into watching there. Yes, we used to animate books and things like Pizza and The Trouble with Chickens and things like that. And I was also the voice of Inky the Octopus, was one of the characters on there. It was a surfer dude octopus that did country western music and hip-hop and whatever else was required of him. So, Young Dagger Pepe is here, and they ask thoughts on Exoterra's fake moss ball. Honestly, here's my feeling. I'm not big on any kind of fake plants, which is why you see real plants in all my tanks. There are instances where it really does come in handy because you may not have the time to take care of anything. And also if you've got crazy cichlids that are going to dig up everything and chow down on all your plants, then it makes sense to use artificial plants and everything. But as far as the moss balls, I've actually had real moss balls in one of my tanks, had them in my daughter's tank, and they took over. It just turned into a swamp of moss. It's basically, the moss balls are an actual type of algae, and they did not stay in a ball form. I think it's because they kind of got stagnated. They sat in one corner or whatever, and it just became a horrible, horrible mess in the tank, and it took a long time to get rid of it. So I would be all in favor of an artificial version of that, as long as it looked good and everything. I'm all about aesthetics, whether it's live plants or fake plants or no plants. I'm all about just getting the right look. So, Nerd Girl says, I loved Between the Lions. It was on the fringes of me outgrowing it, but I still liked it. That's the thing. You get to that certain age and you think, oh, well, I'm kind of too old for this unless nobody's looking. And I was like that with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood when I was younger. When I was like a teen, it's he falls out of favor. Then you get older, then you get children, and you realize Mr. Rogers was a genius, an absolute genius. Kane Landis, I hope I'm pronouncing your name there, says, are rainbow sharks your favorite aquarium sharks as well? I like rainbow sharks. My favorite aquarium shark, now I don't have any sharks right now. I do have a Siamese algae eater over here in the Thailand project. But my favorite shark is actually the red-tailed shark. I love red-tailed sharks. I've kept them over the years. And also, I think I mean, I know a lot of people say you can't keep them in a community tank. I did a video. A lot of people have seen it. It's got, oh my gosh, 250,000 something views or more on it. It was the Aquatasy countdown of was it 10 terrible community aquarium fish. And a lot of people in the comments have said, you left the red-tailed shark off the list. I did. I considered it as a fish that doesn't really belong in a community aquarium. But the thing is, I think it comes down to the temperament of the individual fish, because I've had some that were, they were a holy terror in a tank, and others that were they were a pushover. They were wonderful. They were great. And so yeah, that's my favorite of the sharks. Paul Newitt says, gotta run to make dinner. We'll be back having fish sticks and Klingon gach tonight. Kapla. Great. Thank you, Paul. We'll see you later. Supposed to have fish fingers and custard, Paul. Yeah. All right. Dwain Kitchel mentions Fractured Fairy Tales on Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yes. Love Rocky and Bullwinkle. Love the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. Grew up on that. That was an interesting show, too, because everybody thinks it was a kid's show. And yes, it's enjoyed by kids. Rocky and Bullwinkle was not a kid's show. Rocky and Bullwinkle was political satire. And it was wonderful. It was irreverent, but the segment, the Fractured Fairy Tales, was just delightful. I loved that show. When I was at Industrial Light and Magic, I fought to be able to work on the Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle film that was being done there, that we were working on the effects for. I fought to get on that project, and I was very happy to work on that. And then years later, after the film was made, I got a chance to do a convention with June Foray, who was the voice of Rocky and was the voice of Natasha, and she was just delightful. And she just passed away a couple years ago, and she at like age 96, 94, 96, somewhere around there. And she was still working, still doing voice work up until like her last year. But I had a whole bunch of these pins that production had given me, and I just had I had bags of these things because they were going to throw them out, and I kept them, and I gave a bag of them to June to hand out, and she was so excited, so delighted about that. And Jerry, who's here, he's actually interviewed her, so I think he's going to be doing a little documentary tribute to June Foray. So What else do we have here in the chat? Sickless23, what's your favorite fish, Aquatasy? Well, if I mention which one's my favorite, they'll all get jealous. Or do you mean my favorite fish species? My bucket list fish is a royal pleco. My current favorite fish right now is actually that little dwarf honey gourami that I got recently that I just mentioned. He'll be featured in a video soon. He's just fun to watch. I was kind of worried putting him. I've got this little 5.5-gallon tank here. It's the only fish in it so far were 5 zebra danios. And you know they're high-speed, high-strung fish. I mean, always on the go. And I was worried about putting this little gourami in there that maybe it would get outcompeted for food and it would get disturbed by it. They don't pay him any attention, and he doesn't really pay much attention to them. And I'll throw some food in at one end of the tank, and all the zebras go there. And then I throw some food at the other end of the tank, and the gourami gets his food. So they're fine. But what I love about gouramis, and this is true for most gouramis, but I think it's more accentuated with the small gouramis, is they can stop on a dime as they swim. They can. I love that. I love watching that, and it's a wonderful contrast to the zebra danios that are just constantly zigzagging throughout the tank. I mean, I've never caught them asleep. I've come in at all hours of the day and don't even turn the lights on, and I look, and they're still swimming about. It's weird. D. Michael's Fish Den talks about the Pirates documentary that I just mentioned here because he won a copy of it here. He says, Pirates documentary is fantastic. I was the proud winner of that in an Aquatasy contest. Highly recommend. About time I got a long, let's see, it says, about time I got a long red light. Sorry. This is why I usually practice, but I can't practice this. This is live. Oh, I see. He's driving. you're doing this while you're driving. Mike said, about time I got a long red light to wait at and could chime in here. Drive carefully. Drive responsibly, Mike, please. Yeah, if you want to check out the Pirates of the Caribbean documentary that I was the editor for, or any of the wonderful documentaries that are done by Theme Parkology and Jerry Cornell, you can go to themeparkology.com. Check that out. I'll put that in the description once this thing is uploaded and ready to go. But yeah, it's a wonderful documentary. I'm not just saying that because I helped put it together, but it was just a wonderful project, and I learned so much just actually working on it. And I thought I knew pretty much everything about the Pirates of the Caribbean rides at the Disney parks. So, Kane Landis says, am I pronouncing your name right? Kane Landis says, what fish would be great for a Japanese-themed tank? I've got koi in mind, of course, but otherwise, don't know. Also, you said my name right. Yay! I got it right. Good. That's interesting. Well, how big a tank do you want to do? Do you want to do a small tank, like a nano tank? You want to do a big tank? If you want to do a nano tank, don't put koi in it. But a small tank, I've actually been toying with the idea of doing a small nano tank of Japanese fish. There's some interesting little gobies that are native to Japan that I'm interested in putting in. There's Japanese rice fish, which are really nice. There's also certain freshwater shrimp that you could combine with some of these. So I think that's one way to go. If you want to do something larger, I'll tell you a really good resource, and I found this out while I was going through trying to make sure that everything was going to work for the Thailand project. For those of you who don't know about the Thailand project, something I started a couple years ago and really need to finish, I have it's right there behind me. I have a Aqueon LED 16 widescreen aquarium that was given to me to Aqueon for an unboxing and just sort of just give a review of. And I thought, well, one great way to review it is I'm going to try to set up a project, and I'm just going to use only the stock equipment that comes with the aquarium. So just the lights, just the filter, just what the lid and everything like that. I'm not going to add anything to it, just the heater, and I'm going to see what can I come up with and what kind of scape can I put in there that makes the tank look bigger than it actually is. Because the cool thing about the widescreen aquariums is that they're like this one. It's 30 inches long by 16 inches high, but it's only 8 inches deep front to back. So it looks bigger than it actually is. If I get out of the way, you can see, well, you can see half of it there, part of it. It's actually not as big as it looks, but you can make it look bigger by using forced perspective. So I was doing that in there. But when I came down to the plants and particularly the fish that I wanted to put in there, I wanted to make sure that the way I do things is I pick a country and I make sure that all the plants, all the fish, and all the invertebrates are native to that country. So I'm not doing an exact biotope, so I'm not trying to create a specific region or a specific body of water, but it just happens to be from that country. So as I was going through and trying to figure out what fish to populate that tank with, I wanted to make sure that they actually all were native to that country of Thailand. So if you wanted to do a Japanese tank, go to FishBase. FishBase is a really great website, and you can actually look up all the fish from a particular country, and it'll give you a list, and they have photos of a lot of them. So you got the Latin names and the common names, and it gives you whether it's if it's native to that country, whether it's naturalized there, or introduced there, whether it's endemic and it's only found in that country. And it's great. It's a really great resource to go through and just find, oh, here's everything from Japan. And go through, and then once you find all the names of all those different fish, then you can look it up on sites like Seriously Fish and other places like that, and get the lowdown on what the behavior is of those particular types of fish, and if they really will go together or not. So that's my recommendation to you. Susan Stewart is here. Hey, Andrew, it's Shelley's friend Susan from Alabama. I remember you. Hi there. How are you, Susan? Good to have you here. 44 Mag Guy 1 says, who are you? Because I don't remember subbing to you. I mean, no offense, sir. None taken. No offense taken. Who am I? My name is C. Andrew Nelson. I'm an actor, visual effects artist, and Dark Lord of the Sith, a genuine Dark Lord of the Sith. But I have this channel called Aquatasy that I've had for a number of years now because I am a fish tank fanatic. And this is the hobby that keeps me sane. Because when you're working in visual effects and animation and acting and things like that, it's a lot of pressure. At any given moment, it feels like there is a multi-million-dollar production sitting on your shoulders waiting for you to get your part of it done. That's how it feels. The reality of it is, there really is a multi-million-dollar production sitting on your shoulders waiting for you to get your part of it done. And that's a lot of pressure. And so I chill out by messing with fish tanks. I got 6 tanks running in the house right now. More to come. That's what I do. I've been in this hobby since I was, a tween, and since I was like 12 years old. And so I kind of stumbled into having this YouTube channel. I didn't actually intend to have a YouTube channel. I was on an online forum. It was the Tropical Fish Hobbyist Magazine online forum. Shout out to everybody there. And everybody on the forum was like, I was trying to find some information about a particular fish species, and everybody on the forum was like, hey, everybody post a video of your tank. So I thought, all right, I'll join in. But me being me, visual effects artist and animator and all that stuff like that, I couldn't just like get out a cell phone and shoot something and upload it. No, I had to edit it and add titles to it and music and graphics and that sort of thing. So I was looking for somewhere to host the video, and YouTube seemed easy. But you have to create a channel for yourself. So I thought, well, I better give the channel a name. But I thought, well, I better give it a name that I can actually get a URL for, just in case. And then everything snowballed from there. So I made the first video. It's called the 20-gallon adventure. Remember correctly, yes. And I posted it on the YouTube channel, and I put a link on the forum. And everybody on the forum was like, that's good. You should do another one. So I did another one. And I did another one, and pretty soon I now have 9,000 subscribers. So I don't know how you found out about me, or maybe you're subscribing in your sleep. That's fine. Glad you're here. I combine my sensibilities as a visual effects artist and animator and comedian and that sort of thing with the the hobby, as it says right down below here. It's a fresh look at the hobby of fish keeping from a humorous and cinematic perspective. So you'll see that they're not cooperating right now, but I have Sassy back talking fish that are sometimes impossible to live with and sometimes, impossible to live without. But check out the channel and check out the other videos and stick around a bit. So, 54 Punchy says that he's almost as famous as me. I love it. Okay. Thank you, Dwayne, for putting up the FishBase website. It is a great, great resource. It really is. So, Jerry says, wait till you hear and see what Theme Parkology and Andrew have coming up. Oh, yes. We have a couple of really cool projects. Let me know, Jerry, if I can actually talk about any of them yet. Yeah, we've got some really cool stuff that I'm helping him out with. So, Kane Landis says, thanks for the help. I met you at the Oakhurst Comic-Con. Yes, I was thinking I recognized the name there. You even signed a bottle cap. Yes, I did. I remember that. It was a little bottle cap that had a picture inside there. Maybe I'll see you in my home state of Tennessee. But for now, my break is ending. It was great to have you here. Thank you for joining us on the live stream. So, I would love to get out to Tennessee. I was actually set to be out that way once, but the whole deal fell through at the convention. So, 44 Mag Guy 1 says, okay, thanks. Nice to meet you. Not a Star Wars fan, but my friend is. All right, well, go tag your friend and tell him to jump into the live stream. Not everything that I talk about is Star Wars. It's just kind of coming up here in the live stream. It doesn't get brought up in the videos. The videos are mostly fish. What a surprise. It's a fish tank channel. Let's see. Jerry says, what is your favorite Aquatasy video that you've done? Oh my gosh, Jerry, that's like asking me which one of my children is my favorite. Yeah. Here's the thing, actually Jerry and I have actually talked about this a little bit, which was when you're doing stuff like this, when you're making videos, I think it's important to actually be able to enjoy your own videos, and not in a narcissistic way, but in a very kind of scrutinizing way. That your videos, when you're making videos for YouTube, I think it's important to make them good enough that they actually entertain you as well. So, I mean, the focus is actually, you want to serve your audience. I mean, like I said, I'm not here for me. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to share with you. I'm here to be part of the fish tank community, to lift us all up and to entertain us all and that sort of thing, and to interact with all of you. So, when I'm making videos for Aquatasy, I think back to something that Chuck Jones told me once. Chuck Jones is the very well known. He was the animation director for Warner Brothers, and was the creator of Pepe Le Pew and the Roadrunner and Coyote and directed all these wonderful Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck cartoons over the years. And Chuck was just an amazing person. And he came out to see us at Industrial Light and Magic one time, and Chuck said to me, when talking about all those Warner Brothers cartoons, I was just reading about something about this, the Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. One of the things that I cleared off my desk so I could have a nice desk for this. But something that Chuck had said to me, he said that we didn't make these cartoons for kids, we didn't make them for adults, we made them for ourselves. And he meant that in a discerning way. We said we're our own harshest audience, so our own harshest critics. So if it doesn't make us laugh, if it doesn't entertain us, then it's not going to entertain anybody else. So I always try to make sure that these videos that I make are something that, if it's an educational video, it's something that I would have wanted to know if I were trying to look up something on YouTube, or if it's something that's purely for entertainment, that it's something that entertains me. So I want to be able to actually watch my own videos and enjoy them and not kind of gloss over it and everything. So roundabout way, what's my favorite of my videos? I kind of go back to the recent blooper reel, just because it was a lot of fun to do, and it actually it made me laugh going through and seeing what an absolute nut job I am. When the cameras are rolling, but you don't see this, all the stuff that ends up on the cutting room floor that gets edited out. That stuff, that was a fun video for me to watch and to do and to make and everything. So that's my answer there for that. So Oh, Aquasnark says that they found my channel through D. Michael's channel, D. Michael's Fish Den. Thank you very much. And anybody here who has not checked out D. Michael's Fish Den, please do it. In fact, everybody who's here right now in this chat, go check each other's channels out. All right? That's why we do this. That's why we have these live streams. It's not so I can get out here and just, blab for a couple of hours. It's so that we can all, bond as the fish fam here. And so check out everybody's channel. There's some great channels there. So just, this way. No, that way. Check it out. Check out everybody's channels. And Paul Martin says we need more Cornbread Wisdom too. Thank you, Paul. Cornbread Wisdom is my wife's channel. So you can check out Cornbread Wisdom. She does a lot of lifestyle videos, a lot of how-to stuff. Basically, it's here's how to do things in a very frugal way, on a budget. So, that makes life easier and that sort of thing. And of course, I know what Paul's probably wanting my wife and me to do on that channel is to do a video that we promised on a pond. We were doing a crossover thing here that would be on my channel and her channel, of an outdoor pond, and we're still working on that. But yeah, go check out Cornbread Wisdom here on YouTube. So it's YouTube/user/Cornbread Wisdom, and that is my wife's channel. Check it out. Her name is Veronica Loud. Check it out there. Dwain Kitchel says, when are we going to see that 4K gallon pond in the backyard? I don't think I have 4K worth of backyard, Dwayne. It's not a big backyard. If I were to put like a 4,000 gallon pond out there, it would be more like a lap pool because we have a long stretched out thing. But we're still working on putting a little pond or something over in the corner there. We're going to have nice weather for a while, so I think it'll be good. I know what I want to put out there. I think I want to put White Cloud Mountain minnows out in a pond. I'd like to see if I can get them out there and breed them in a container pond out there. So patio pond, that's definitely what I want to do. I want to get that patio pond going. 44 Mag Guy 1 says, awesome, do you plan on doing more live streams here? I don't know. You tell me if this is working, if this is a success. If you guys like this, then I will do it again. Probably, maybe if I can, I'll do one, once a month or something, and we'll see what we can do. But I had put up a poll asking if anybody wanted me to do this, and you said yes. And you guys chose the day of Friday, so we'll do it. If you guys want me to do more, I will do it. And we'll also come up with a topic and start with that. I just thought I'd start with the sort of AMA style first this time. So. All right. Aquasnark says, we're still learning and only have a couple of videos. Yes, I know. It's a learning curve here on YouTube. It's like you don't know what to do. I will recommend a good channel. If you want to learn how to grow your channel, I'll recommend two good channels there. And I will put those in the links in the description too afterwards. And I may actually do a video on how to grow your channel. If that's interesting to people. But there's a guy by the name of Brian G. Johnson. Check him out here on YouTube, Brian G. Johnson. Just one of the best resources here for just breaking it down, breaking YouTube down on how to understand YouTube, how to understand the algorithm, how to understand what grows your channel. And I really have to give him a lot of credit for some of the things that I did, a few months back. This channel was at about 3,500 subscribers. And then just in a couple of months, the channel has tripled. And it's because of the practices that I found by watching Brian G. Johnson's channel there. So check him out. Also, check out Nick Nimmin, Nimmin, Nick Nimmin. Those two guys, they are fantastic. So. Almighty Me is here, and they say, always happy to see a new video. More live streaming. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Ah, does that mean you're going to be at the convention that I'm going to be at tomorrow? At Stockton Con? I will be at Stockton Con in Stockton, California at the Stockton Arena with other Star Wars guests and other actors and artists and things like that. It's a very cool thing. Go check it out. You can go to StocktonCon.com to find out all about that. or you can go to candrewnelson.com and go to the events page, and you'll find the link there. So let's see what else we got here. Cichlids23 says, you should have seen the vase you showed earlier for the shrimps. Yes, I'm going to make a shrimp vase. And this is the piece of spiderwood that's going to go into it here. So there you go. It's like a giant brandy snifter or something like that. I don't know. My father-in-law had this. My father-in-law passed away a few years ago, and this was his. And I don't think he drank out of it. I think it was just for decoration. I don't ever remember even seeing him drink. But so yeah, I'm going to turn that into a shrimp vase and have it right here on my desk. So why not? So oh, there will definitely be plants in the shrimp vase. Definitely be plants. Everything I do is planted. I can't. This holding tank that my snotty little fish are in right now, the talking fish, that is referred to as the Ellis Island Project because it's my quarantine tank also. So that's where all the fish that come into the United Scapes of Aquatasy, they all go through Ellis Island. So I did a video on this. You can check it out. I actually, most people don't aquascape their quarantine tanks. I couldn't help myself. That's what I do. I aquascape, and I have plants in all my tanks here. So Personal Promises says, so I've got a new 10-gallon tank for my fish, but the water is optional, right? Sure, absolutely. It depends on what kind of fish you want. If you want, you don't want like high-strung fish. You want those that really aren't that active. Then yeah, the water's optional. Go for that. Thank you. Really cute. Thank you very much. Personal Promises. Thank you. Alrighty. Yeah, so it could be a giant martini thing there. Yes, Aquasnark says, be careful. Yeah, shrimp are good at escaping. Yes, they are. I'm going to try to be very careful with that. I'm going to make sure that the water doesn't get too low. And actually, when I do this, I'm going to make sure that this is standing upright, so it's not actually resting on any of the sides there. So hopefully they won't, use that as a diving board, but at least it won't be up against the side that will allow them to crawl all the way out. But you never know. I mean, hopefully none of them will go, carpet diving on me. Well, there's no carpet. There's rug diving. There's a rug out here. There's an area rug. So. Let's see. GamerSloth23 says, how long have you been studying fish? I've been studying fish probably since I was about 10 years old, and probably been keeping them since I was about 12. Growing up here in the San Francisco Bay Area, I'm very fortunate that we have several world-class aquariums. In Golden Gate Park, in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park, there is the California Academy of Sciences and Steinhardt Aquarium that I have been visiting since I was a kid. My dad and I would go out there pretty much like every other weekend, and we would just go out to the museums and go see that. So I became fascinated by fish at a very young age. Also, my grandfather, my mother's father, he kept fish, and he had lots of tanks. I mean, if he were around today, he would love all the innovations in nano tanks and things like that. He would have driven my grandmother just absolutely nuts with tanks. He would have had dozens of tanks all over the house. But because of his love of fish tanks and my dad and I going out and seeing the fish there, I was absolutely hooked on fish at a very, very young age. And I remember the old Steinhardt Aquarium. They used to have, as you walked through, they would have big freshwater fish tanks all on one side. I'm talking huge. All along one side as you walked through this long corridor of things, and you walk back the other way, and the other side is all salt water. But at the very end of one end of this whole thing, there was a wall of, looked like 10-gallon tanks. I mean, it looked like a whole wall of tanks, just like 2 dozen tanks, and that captivated me. And I get to see all the little things, all the stuff that we now keep in our tanks at home, neon tetras and things like that, Corydorus catfish. And that's how I got hooked. and I've been studying them ever since, and even in more recent years, because I've been in this hobby, like I said, ever since then. But at some point around, I don't know, 2002 or somewhere around there, life got in the way, and my tanks kind of started floundering, and I just kind of was like topping off the one tank that I had, but as soon as I got this channel started, that was when I was on fire again. And I got to thank people like Dustin of Dustin's Fish Tanks that got me all fired up for the fish tank hobby again. And that was when I really started studying it in earnest. And I've actually been employed as a freshwater fish consultant for various websites, including rightpet.com. It's an absolute obsession of mine. You ask my wife, you ask my son and daughter, that will tell you that I'm almost insufferable about fish. And so I'm always constantly learning. I also learned a long time ago to be a good teacher, and that's what we are when we have these channels and we offer up these videos and things like that. To be a good teacher, you have to be a lifelong student, and that's what I am. When I left Industrial Light and Magic, as I mentioned earlier, I took a full-time faculty position for 2.5 years as the head of the visual effects department at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, and I taught a full slate of classes on visual effects, and taught actually design the curriculum, oversee the curriculum there at the school. But you have to keep becoming you have to be a student in order to become a good teacher. So I'm always trying to learn. So but yeah, so I've been doing that since I was 10 years old or so, 10 or 12 years old. So the last 20 years. No, a lot longer than that. So yeah, I'm for those of you, since I'm dancing around my age here, I'm 57. So yeah, I've been in this hobby since I was 10 years old, so about 47 years. 47, 45 years, somewhere around there. Paul Martin says, favorite current television show, and what are you most excited to see, TV or movie? Favorite current television show. It's interesting. I have different likes, and I have a very eclectic taste in different TV shows. I've enjoyed the Arrowverse shows, Arrow and The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. I kind of stopped watching Supergirl. It just I thought the writing went downhill. But I really enjoy The Flash. I'm a sucker for shows like Survivor. Survivor is one of my favorite shows, and probably not for the reasons why other people like Survivor so much. It's not just the gameplay and all of that, but Survivor is a masterclass in editing. That show is made in the edit, and I'm not saying that they're faking things and they're fudging stuff, but I mean, they are certainly condensing things like that. But that show is absolutely made in the edit, and at heart, I am very much an editor, and I love that show. I watch that with that in mind. I'm fascinated by that. Let's see, films and movies. I've been so busy lately. I don't really know what movies are coming out. Of course, I'm always I want to see Spider-Man: Far From Home. I haven't seen that yet. I'm a sucker for almost all the Marvel films, and loved them all. Loved Endgame. Loved all that stuff. So I watch those. Love to see that sort of thing. What else am I interested in? I'll tell you a real guilty pleasure in television shows is Impractical Jokers on True TV. I love that show. Impractical Jokers is four guys. They've been friends since high school, and it's a hidden camera show. And it's not a prank show where they're pranking the public. They're doing things to each other in public. It's the kind of jokes and things that they would have done on each other anyway. But they're now doing it in public and daring each other to do these things in public to each other, to embarrass each other. So they're feeding each other lines and stuff, and they got a little earpiece and things like that. And they compete to embarrass each other. and will you do what it is that the guys are telling you to do? Say silly things and do silly things. And I absolutely love that show because it reminds me of myself and my high school buddies when we would do crazy stuff like that too. And at the end of the show, whoever has the most losses because they gave up on a challenge, then they have a punishment that they cannot turn down. And there's some really wicked, crazy punishments. But it's a silly show, and I love the show, and it's a fun show to watch. So, Stephen Nix is here and says, "Hey y'all, I'm finally off work. Hope Fish Fam doing okay. I've missed the live streams." Okay, I guess we got to start over. So okay, let's start over again. Hi everybody. Hey everybody, I'm C. Andrew Nelson, founder of Aquatasy. Welcome to Aquatasy. Aquatasy is live. No, I'm not going to start over. Good to have you here, Stephen. So chime right in. Swisky, Jimmy's here. How you doing? Wow, I'm honored to have you here. What do you think of the new Batgirl trailer? The Batgirl show just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't click with me. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't click. I thought that was the weakest part of the crossover from this past season was Batgirl, and it just, I don't know. I'll give it a shot, but it just, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. I really like, I don't think there's been a bad episode of The Flash. I really like The Flash. I like Legends of Tomorrow. It's gotten really silly, but I still like it. Arrow has been kind of hit or miss with me, and like I said, I stopped watching Supergirl. I'll probably have to start watching it again when it gets ready for the next crossover. But I thought the writing went downhill on that. But I don't know, Batgirl just wasn't doing it for me yet. But I'll give it a shot. So glad to hear Spider-Man was amazing. I loved the first film. I want to see the new one. So I love how all those films have just dovetailed together and everything. Love, Death, and Robots. Ooh, yeah. I've got it. Don't know much about that. All right. Gamer Sloth 23 says, "I also met you at the Moose Lodge Comic-Con, and I still have your autograph." Yes, that's right. That was fun. That was a fun gig. It was a convention that was held at a Moose Lodge. We were talking about Rocky and Bullwinkle earlier, so yes, it was held in the Moose Lodge. Watch me pull a rabbit out of a hat. Oh. Okay, I'm getting really punchy now. Okay, so Jimmy says he thought it was super weak too. Yeah, I'm upset. He mentioned that Swamp Thing was canceled on the streaming service that DC has. Yeah, I think there's some real there's problems happening with the DC streaming service. I don't know. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes. I've been reading about it in Variety and Hollywood Reporter, and they've got some issues going on, and it's sad that Swamp Thing was the first casualty of that. I haven't subscribed to the service, but I did watch a little bit of the clips from it, and it looked like it was a good show. So. Stephen Nix says, "No need to start over for me. Just an old fish nerd. Love to hear my peers talk about my hobby." That's why we're here. That is exactly why we're here. Paul Martin says, "Must have got the wrong hat." Yes, got the wrong hat. Lumpy Dog says, "Sci-fi meets horror with a twist of musical, as in the Rocky Horror Show." Okay, interesting. We'll have to see about that. Yeah, Stephen Nix says, "Don't know my own strength." Yes. I loved Rocky and Bullwinkle. I love that. Actually, one of my more difficult shots that I've had to do as a visual effects artist was on the Rocky and Bullwinkle film. And it was kind of mundane stuff. It was a scene where Rocky and Bullwinkle are walking down an old country road, and you see a crow sitting on a wooden fence post as they're walking down the road there. Well, of course, obviously, Rocky and Bullwinkle weren't actually there. They were animated. They were 3D, then given sort of a 2D look to make them more cartoon-like. But it was a camera tracking shot, so it's a moving camera shot, and so there were tracking markers that were placed in the road that have to be removed so that they're not in the final shot. But that's how the match move artists are able to take what the animators did, match it to the movement of the background, and make it move in time with the background so that Rocky and Bullwinkle don't look like they're sliding across the scene. The other thing I had to do in that shot was it was it wasn't a real crow in that shot. It was a puppet that was being worked by a puppeteer. But you can see the puppeteer and the rig that's coming up out into the posterior of the crow, the rig that's moving that. So I had to paint that out and make it go away. But you have to do that every single frame. And of course, the scene is changing perspective every single frame. So it was a very, very difficult shot to do. But yeah, you just have to find a method and work your way through it. That's how it works in these effect shots. Sickless23 says, Dukes of Hazzard or Knight Rider? I'm a Dukes of Hazzard kind of guy. I mean, I like both shows. Didn't really watch them both avidly, but I lean more to Dukes of Hazzard because I actually have had friends now that were on that show. So that's why. That's kind of the fun thing about doing these conventions that I'm very blessed to be able to do. When I do these convention appearances, you get to meet other actors and other artists that you otherwise might not have run into or might not have worked with. And so I've run into some of the folks that were on Dukes of Hazzard, and so that was fun. So I kind of lean towards that, and it was an interesting show. But I like both shows. I like both shows a lot. Jimmy wants to know, anybody watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yet? No, I have not seen it yet. I've heard good things about it, and I've heard some bad things about it. I've heard some people say, oh, it was fantastic, and I heard others say, yeah, we walked out about 2 hours into it. It's like a 3-hour film or something like that. Sickless23 mentions a bunch of other shows. The A-Team, Knight Rider, Dukes of Hazzard. A-Team, now you're talking. Love the A-Team. Absolutely love the A-Team. What I love about the A-Team is that you'd have people fire machine guns into a crowd and nobody gets hurt. They kept it as family friendly as they possibly could, but it was just a fun show. And by the way, Dirk Benedict, really nice guy, really nice guy. Yes, Dwayne says, I pity the fool. Love Mr. T. I remember Mr. T back before he was in Rocky III. He won Bouncer of the Year competition, and he was on the David Letterman show back when Letterman was on NBC doing the late night show, and he was on there, and I was so impressed by him, and that's how Stallone found out about him to put him in the film. So, yes. Dr. Black 66 wants to know, is Dirk still pretty? Yeah, he is actually. I mean, I don't know how old he is. I mean, he's certainly older than I am, but yeah, he still looks pretty darn good. I mean, I hope I look that good. It's like, I wish I looked that good now. It's like I said in one of my videos, I don't have snow on the roof. I've got frost on the front porch, and I haven't dyed my my hair for a while. Yes, I dye my hair. Real men who have real wives who say dye your hair, dye their hair. So yes, full circle, back to Letterman. All roads lead back to Letterman. I don't know. Stream of consciousness here. That's what's going on. So. Are we having a good time? Are we enjoying this? I'm enjoying this. I'm having fun. I'm glad you all showed up for this. Jerry Cornell says, what film do you wish you had worked on? Well, I mean, there's a bunch of historic films that I wished I had worked on, but I'll stick around. I'll stick with those that, I could have worked on and didn't. I would have liked to have worked on one of the Star Trek films. That would have been nice. I would have liked to have worked on one of the Star Trek films. Some of those that were in, I would have liked to have worked on Star Trek First Contact. That was being worked on at ILM when I was working there. But that would have been fun. But other films I would have liked to have worked on. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank right now. But I would say probably one of the Star Trek films, because I like Star Trek too. As much as I love Star Wars and have worked on Star Wars, I like Star Trek as well. And so I would have liked to have worked on one of those. I'd still like to work on some kind of Star Trek-y project. Probably not Star Trek Discovery. I'm not that impressed by that. But we'll see. I'd love to see. I'm curious to see what the new Picard show is going to be like. What do we got here? All right. Cichlids23 says, yes, they're enjoying this. Aquasnark says they're enjoying it as well. Paul Newitt is back. Thank you, Paul. I'm glad to have you back here. How's dinner? Is it ready? Did you eat it already? So I'm glad you guys are enjoying the live stream here. Yeah, it's something I've wanted to do for a while, and I also wanted to make sure it actually looked good and got all the kinks out of it before I set this up. You have no idea all the things that I went through today to do this. It's like producing a one-man TV show. That's what this is like. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and it's because I'm trained to. As a visual effects artist, you've got to try to make things as perfect as you can get within the time frame and within the the budget. And I wanted to make this look good, and I wanted to make it work right and everything. That was my main thing. It was to make sure that the stream went well, that the audio went well and the video went well, because this happens a lot. Streams drop out and stuff happens. So to do this, here's the thing: when you're working on a film or a television show, you guys, we as an audience, when we watch something like that, we see perfection. We see what looks like reality. It's the reality that's created for that story. Behind the scenes, you see partially created sets. You see staircases that go to nowhere. You see props that aren't really, fully made and aren't as impressive in person. You see cables and wires all over the place. You see tons of lights and things like that. That's kind of what's going on beyond this square frame, this rectangular frame that you're seeing here. So I've got lights set up. I've got cables. I was worried that the signal wasn't going to be strong enough for this to live stream. My office is in the spacious Aquatasy studios, which is aka the former garage of our house, which is a detached garage at one end of the house. At the other end of the house, I mean literally at the other end of the property, is our router for the internet connection. And what I normally do is I have a power line adapter that brings the signal out here, uses the house's electrical current to do that. But it's really not strong enough to do a live stream. So at the last minute, I ran a ridiculously long Ethernet cable that I had to make myself all the way from one end of the house out here to this end. So that's what I did. And I've got lights set up and things all moved out of the side. There's tons of things that I've moved off my desk, and I've got stuff all jerry-rigged here. So, but it looks beautiful on camera, doesn't it? So there you go. The magic of the movies, the magic of YouTube. So Paul Newitt says, just want to acknowledge Andrew for his amazing video work for Aquatasy. I love his high quality of the graphics, film clips, and of course his clever humor. Well, thank you very much, Paul. I mean, I know you personally, and I know you mean that. You're not just just touting me to everybody else here like that. I try to make stuff that I would want to watch. That if I were going to take time out of my day, something that I would want to watch as well. So that's what I want to do. I try to plus it up. And I think that's something we all need to do with our videos, and always try to do the best we can. But also at the same time, I have to remember to dial it back, because if I'm too perfectionist, then things never get done. And I have one video that I've actually been working on with you guys for almost 3 years, because I was perfectionist about it. Certain things that I wanted to be able to show, and the certain style that I wanted to do it, and one particular visual effects shot that I wanted to do for it, that really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the content of the video, but it's just a good gag. And darn it, I'm going to do that effects shot. And it's it's film level type stuff, but I'm going to do it for you just for fun. Because that's the thing too, when you make these videos, you have to have fun. You have to have fun doing it. Why have a YouTube channel if you're not having fun? And hopefully everybody else is having fun too. I want everybody else to have fun as well. So Jerry says, your streaming show is amazing. Bravo. No need for these virtual tomatoes. Okay, well, put them down, Jerry. Save them for the next time. Dr. Ted says it's a great stream. Thank you very much. Dr. Black 66 says, I do my live streams on 1 bar Wi-Fi. Wow. I'm impressed. Okay, I gotta check one out just to see. That's, hey, you know, sometimes it's just get it done. You know, there's a film producer by the name of Scott Rudin who once said, "Don't get it right, get it written," which basically, you know, or basically means, you know, just get it down, get the project down, get it done. You know, sometimes perfection is the enemy of creativity. It really is. So we're doing the live stream. Lumpy Dog says, next live stream, wear the amazing Technicolor Dream Coat instead of black on black. Vader. Ha! You know, that's the funny thing. I wore this because it was clean. That's basically the thing. You know, I need to do a little laundry. But I thought, well, I just thought I was going to wear the black Aquatasy shirt. There we go, the black Aquatasy shirt. Available at the Aquatasy Teespring store. Proceeds help the Starlight Children's Foundation. But I wore this because it's Aquatasy. And I wore this because I thought, well, you know, black goes with black. So, but if it was up to me, I'd be wearing Hawaiian shirts. But my wife is not keen on that. You know, although if I lose a little more weight, she might let me do it. So I actually have lost some weight, so I'm very happy about that. Very thankful. So let's see. Dwain Kitchel says, you have mastered the live stream. Only thanks to your help, Dwayne. Thank you for moderating right now. I really, really appreciate it. So you are the man. Thank you. Aquasnark says, live streaming is cool because it's interactive. Yeah, I agree. You know, I come from a background in theater. That's where I started. I started off in theater and live theater, and it's something that I miss because when you're acting on camera for film or television or commercials, or when you're doing voiceover for games and animation, you don't have that instant feedback. When you're doing stuff on stage, you get instant feedback of how you're doing. You get the audience's reaction, and you're doing a play, and you know, if they react, if they applaud, or if you're doing something that's a comedy, and I've done a lot of comedies on stage, you get that instant feedback of whether it's working or not, whether the jokes are working. And the same thing with stand-up comedy. I've done stand-up comedy for years, and you know right away, you know right away whether you're doing well or if you're bombing. I've done both. I have done exceptionally well, and I have bombed. So and every comic has. Every comic has. So yeah, so this is it's nice. So I don't have a problem being live. I almost wish the one thing that'd be great is if I could hear all of you. That would be great. But I'm happy to be able to read this and have it be live like that. Susan Stewart says, they have the Georgia Aquarium, and I've actually seen it. They have beautiful fish there. Have you ever been to the one in Georgia? No, I have not. I've never been to Georgia. I would love to go to Georgia. Where in Georgia is the museum? Is it the aquarium? Is it in Savannah? Is it in Atlanta? Or where is it at? I'd love to go to Georgia. I have been to the big aquarium in New Orleans. My wife and I and our kids were down there for a family event, and it was we toured through there, and it was an amazing aquarium. It was incredible. This was back in 2005, and it was the week before Hurricane Katrina hit, and so the next week, a week later, literally a week later, we're tuned into the television and we're watching the news, and we're seeing all these streets that we had been driving on down there are now flooded. They're now underwater, and of course, you know, the whole aquarium kaput because, you know, the power was out and everything, and they lost, you know, all that livestock and everything. And I've not been back since then, but it was a beautiful, amazing aquarium. And like I said, we have some really nice aquariums out here. We've got the California Academy of Sciences and Steinhardt Aquarium at Golden Gate Park. We have the Monterey Bay Aquarium, which is a great aquarium. We have the Aquarium of the Bay, which I did a video of a while back, Aquatasy on Location. And we're going to be doing more of the Aquatasy on Location videos. So hopefully we'll profile some of the other local ones, and maybe one day I'll get down to Georgia to see that. Paul Martin is cranking up the barbecue. See you on the 10th. Blessings. Good to have you here, and I will see you on the 10th. Thank you, Paul. So, Jerry said, camera blurred, out of focus. Am I okay now? Okay. All right. Are we okay? Are we still blurry? Hopefully we're not still blurry. All right. All right. Paul says, video's good. Check your YouTube gear at the bottom of the screen. Okay. All right. Aquasnark says, went to New Orleans Aquarium a year ago. It was awesome. Well, I'm glad to see that it was rebuilt and it's still awesome. It was amazing when I was there before. So, yeah. Yes, YouTube does act, as Dwayne's saying, YouTube does act up every so often. It depends on the strength of your signal, too. So if you're getting a weak signal, Jerry or anybody else, you know, sometimes the refresh rate changes depending on what resolution you've got your viewer going at. So, darn that YouTube, it's acting up again. So, well, we've been going for about 2 hours here, and I think I should probably bring it to a close. I know my wife would probably like me to bring it to a close because I've got things that I'm supposed to do that I've been promising her that I would do. But I thank you all for showing up. Thank you, everybody who came here again. Great. Thank you for the support for this channel. I don't have the words to thank you so much for 9,000 plus subscribers. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm blown away by it. So thank you for that. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here for this live stream. We'll do another one. And if you go to the communities tab on the Aquatasy page here on YouTube, I will set up a poll, and we'll set up maybe a little poll for what the next topic would be for the next Aquatasy live stream. And we do have new videos coming up. I'm working on quite a few of them right now. So before we go, if you want to find out more about Aquatasy, or if you want to contact me or something, yeah, there it goes again. You can do so right here. You can find Aquatasy on Instagram. I do post a lot on Instagram there, so you can find out. It's a little bit of slice of life, and you get pictures of my fish and stuff like that. You can find Aquatasy on Facebook, where I often post interesting articles about fish and the fish tank hobby. You can find Aquatasy on Twitter, which is kind of a ghost town because I don't go on Twitter that often, but maybe I will if you guys will go check it out. And of course, there's Aquatasy on Patreon, so we're going to be posting a bunch of new content on there very, very soon. And of course, there is I'm cheating here, looking over at the screen. There's the Aquatasy website, which is going to be overhauled very, very soon. But if you want to reach out to me and send me an email, you can send it to info@aquatasy.com, and I will get back to you ASAP. So, thank you again. Thank you so much. Ah, there it goes again. Thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this. I really, really appreciate it. And no, this has been so much fun, and it's a long time coming. Long time coming. So, thank you. Keep watching the channel. Check out each other's channels. Check out Theme Parkology. Shout out to my friend Jerry Cornell. Check out everything that's been mentioned here. Please go check out the Starlight Children's Foundation. Even if you didn't, order anything from me, that's fine. I don't care. Go check them out. They're a wonderful, worthy charity. All right. And again, until next time. Oops, sorry. Blessings to you.
I thought that blowhard would never shut up.